Hey everyone, welcome to another Wednesday Lunch Live Sketch. My name is Frank Summers, and today I would like to draw the Baron of Hell from Doom, the original Doom series. And what I would like to do is I try to do this every week around, it says 12 noon there, but today's 12:30, whatever. Whoa, hold on, I got some,
Don't you get?
hold on there. I had to pause my stream going on there. So I try to do this within 25 minutes, try to keep it quick, try to get the sketch going quick and loose. So the first thing I'll do right now is hit my timer, and away we go. There it goes, timer's going. So jump over into my Photoshop document, and I'm going to just start throwing down some rough gestural type stuff. I already have a bit of an idea of what I would like to do. I gathered some reference ahead of time, and pulled in some images that I liked. And I like well, I'm already working a little too big, so let's scale him down a little bit. Give myself some room. I like when he throws the fireball, the hand is way up. So I want to exaggerate that a little more for my version. Here's a head. We have our center line of our torso. He's very barrel-chested, very muscular. Here's a shoulder that could be dropping a little bit. We have a fist, a foreshortened arm. And I'm thinking about right now the cranium, and I'm pretty sure he has a very large cranium. I have reference over here from the game, and his cranium is enlarged, elongated. Maybe is a better word for it. But I feel like his head should be hunching down, so to speak. So we're going to block in the idea of where it's going to exist, the volume. And I know I want the horns to exist around here somewhere. So now at this stage, I am only thinking about where I want things to exist. And I can tell the head's probably a little too big. And where I want them to eventually kind of maybe be. You know, he's got these legs. I can tell already I'm going to scale him down a little more. You know, I have a penchant apparently for characters with reversed legs. So this line here is going to be in floor level. I figure if this arm is coming at us, this arm up here is receding. Perhaps it could be more interesting if this leg was coming at us, and this leg, or screen right leg, is receding. So let's try and root them a little better into the space. There we are. Yeah. So the head. I mean, he does have a big head. You know, I'm looking at that reference up there. It's pretty large. So why don't we just keep going with this? And it's pretty stubby. He's pretty stubby overall. Let's just block in more of his anatomy here a little bit better. Yeah, I can probably even exaggerate these muscle groups more so. You know. And here's our costal arch, which we really don't see too much. It's buried underneath a lot of musculature. And, you know, in this version here, in the pixelated version, I don't know who cleaned this up, the one at the top there. But it's kind of hard to tell what's happening with his abs, right? But he's got a rockin' six-pack because he is a Baron of Hell. Because he can do that, because he can command that type of respect. You know, when he pulls up, when he rolls up to the gym, he's not clowning around. He's there to whoop ass. So here's the trick. So this knee is coming at us, and then we have the reverse of the leg going down into this hoof. And You would think by now I'm an expert at this. This knee block, and then the other knee kind of receding, calf moving into the hoof. And again, this is all like furry type stuff. But it doesn't matter because it's like a big mass. So I'm treating it as such. Again, this is where I'm trying to define the bottom of his belly. All right, and now let's get this shoulder in. Let's mass it in. We have an overlapping form of the forearm. And there's a bony structure going down into the elbow. A little more straighter with this curve up here, this muscular curve. And he'll have a fist because, you know, he's channeling the powers of hell in his other arm. So imagine that's hard to do. So it requires a lot of energy on his part. So he really needs to get that fist going. So let's revisit the head a little bit here. You know, one thing I do like in the reference images is that his head is kind of rotated to the right, or excuse me, to the left a little bit. And I'm wondering if I can take his head, in my version, maybe rotate it something like this. Or is it more interesting to rotate it a bit more like this? And if I do that, I have to scoot the mass of the head over a little bit. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Playing it dead on is a little, like if I was to put the center line straight down, and then, you know, if this is my eye line somewhere around here, kind of boring, you know, it's just a boring pose. But let me think about it. Like the rest of his body is twisting and turning, so maybe it could be cool to have that head sort of straight, maybe even more down a bit more, you know. He's got massive traps. Are these traps? The shoulder muscles? I'm forgetting. I mean, let's rough in some of the idea of a jaw shape to help us visualize this a bit better. So we need to bring this jaw out a bit more. So, well, I mean, this is just an idea, right? We're just trying to see what it could potentially look like. And what I might do is really de-emphasize the eyes. Maybe make them smaller than what they probably should be. And really emphasize this crazy cranium he's got going on against these bony cheeks. And like I can exaggerate the nasal cavity. I think that could help make him a little more hellish looking, making the eyes smaller. They could be a little closer together. Making the eyes smaller. Because it just makes him a little more devious looking. Like you can't quite tell what he's thinking, I think, when you have smaller eyes. Playing against this pretty garishly open, I need to adjust some of this center line here, garishly open nasal cavity. And so let's think about where these horns would come out of this. So if this is, let's exaggerate our cranium a little bit more. The cranium does not have any brains in it. This cranium is all muscle. The Baron of Hell has no need for muscle for brains. He simply eats them. So they reverse. Hold on. Trying to. trying to flip that in my head. I like how this one came out. Let's leave it for now. And why don't I just save? Check my time. Google, how's my time? I got 15 minutes remaining. I want to block in the rest of this hand. Let me think. I should have the fingers splayed. I love this hand right here. I love it. It's got such great energy. Okay, let's just block that shape in for now. And what I want to do is start. I want to do my zoom out trick. Give a good squint. What do I not like about this? What is, I feel like this shoulder, this upper shoulder could stand to be built out a little more. I feel like his head mass, I'm afraid to lose the silhouette of the horn. I do want to, I feel like it needs to come down more. The next thing I want to do is save again. Then we do a flip. Transform, a flip horizontal. And scale, zooming out again. I mean, I feel like maybe his upper arm, this arm is probably a little too big. So we can just pull it back. We can just take some of these pieces here and just thin it out a little bit. And the hand could probably just come down some. Keep this more chunky, the inside stuff. And just be careful in this section right here, between the shoulder and the horn. That's a very tight spot, but it can be useful to create an interesting piece of his silhouette. Does he have ears? He does not have ears. So I think the other thing that's going on too is that his horns need to come above his cranium. See, when you flip it like this, anyone who's just getting into drawing, when you flip your drawing, you suddenly look at it from a different point of view, and mistakes jump out, and you know, you suddenly start seeing it in a different light. And the other thing that I think these horns need to do is they need to jet up more. So why don't we scrap these horns entirely? And I think even making the horns pop up a little bit more will help solve the issue I'm having in here with the shoulder. So why don't we find our cranial mass where there is nothing but muscle. Muscle is inside there. And let's just repair this area a little bit more. Please notice I am still working loose. The whole purpose of this stage is to work rough and not fall in love with anything. And now the horns could probably be a little stubbier and chunkier. Okay, some chunkier, stubbier horns. So we can fix this center line here too. Collarbone shooting up a little higher. And this could probably be a little tighter, this pec, because it's raised, that muscle will be stretched. Whereas this one will be more bunched. Let's try and find some more angles in this guy too. I don't want him to be a like a gooey mess, right? Like all bubbly. So these muscles can be a little tighter or more angular, I guess maybe is a word for it. And this is tight. And by tight, I mean the line is, there's tension on the line. Have a look on time. 10 minutes remaining. Is that true? Are you lying to me, Google? No, it is not. 10 minutes remaining. I have 25. Let's do a quick save while we flip our drawing back over. And what we can start doing is moving into the we can start moving into the cleanup phase of it. Dang it. Zoom out. Okay. Let's look at it critically. I think one more thing I'd like to do before I move into doing some more tie downs is to try and find a little more information on what in the world is going on here with his legs. And I realize that there is liberties that I can take because this is, like I said, this is stuff that's buried under fur. But let's just make sure we have some form involved. So this will be overlapping. This will be under. It's very furry. Let's clean up some of this. And maybe the back hoof could be pushed just a little larger. These are some center lines to help us find a shape to it. Okay. All right. Okay. Next thing to do is I'll make another layer. I got about 10 minutes remaining. I think that's enough time, a little less, 7 minutes. I think I can start doing some cleanup, or tie down, I should say. We can just pull back our rough layer a little bit, lower the opacity, tie down, and we can, let me pull the opacity down just a hair more. So let's start getting into this head. I can go a little darker. Let's start getting into this head and maybe even play with, so one eye's a little more squintier maybe. And let's keep them sharp for the most part. And I'm gonna make them I want to make them dark. And here's that nasal cavity. I'm going to avoid being too symmetrical with it. Now we can go into the teeth. He's got those incisors or whatever, these tusks, if you will, that kind of jut out. Let me look at the reference again. Yeah, it looks like it's just those, I mean, according to that version of him anyway. It looks like it's just these, whereas the rest, here, I can cheat a little bit here for the sake of time. And we'll get really bony on the cheeks This can be hunky and squared off. And now let's think about how these things, these horns, exist as if they were like coming out of his head. And we can give him a little bit of shape, a little bit of design, so that it's not reading as some sort of gooey object kind of coming out of his head, you know? So there's some sharpness to them. I'm going to find these little rolls. Oop. Oop, undo. Yes. Okay. Alrighty. How we look on time here? 3 minutes. All right, let's motor. If I run out of time, what I might do anyway is I'll run over a little bit. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell. Don't tell YouTube. They'll take away my broadcasting license. All right, now let's think about this fist. Keeping it blocky. And kind of stubby. I realized just now that I have a penchant for drawing very muscular dudes on my Wednesday lunch 5 sketches here. Make of that what you will. Again, I want to kind of make sure that there's some shape to this, so that it's not so that's not just a balloon, you know. I don't want him to look like a balloon. I'll do that. Let's get that finger a little more. This finger's gonna be a little more chunky, huh? Chunky fingertips and squared off kind of palms. And he's gonna have some flames going on here. This finger needs to be smaller as it tucks behind. I may add the flames in later, but that's where they'll go. Bottom of the rib cage, an ab, an ab, an ab, an ab. Sometimes it's helpful to say the part as you draw it. And these just overlap each other. Okay. Some furry business. As I'm drawing this fur, I'm trying to keep it mindful of the curvature of the hoof. Woo! That's loud. All right. I'm going to finish this up. Let's just finish. And try not to keep these repeating. Try not to make them too similar. This one's slightly in the back. Maybe there's a clef right there. Save it. All right, there we go. There's our Hell Knight, and there's the wicked fire that's going on up here. I'm not happy with this hand at all. I think what I would like to do, I'm not happy with this right here, the pit of the neck, so to speak. So let's just break it out a little more from the head. It was too tight in there. It was like causing like a pinch. All right, I am not happy with this hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tie down, pull it back a little bit. I'm going to make a corrections layer. Corrections. Back to my tie down really quickly. Just scribble in whatever color I was using to. Let's just grab a red. What's that like? It's all right. So let's think about this hand a little better. I think it's too tall, first off. So if this is our wrist, we have a wrist going on here, and now we have a hand. Here's the palm of our hand. And so the thumb is betraying where it really should be. Should be around there someplace. And let's diagram in where I want these hands, these fingers to be. Middle overlapping the ring, and then the pinky can be separated out. And I think that was actually my biggest problem right there. I think I just discovered it. It was that the hand itself was maybe a little too long, and that the thumb was not properly in the right position. I can go in here a little more and further break it apart a little bit. The pad of the thumb. And maybe what I'll do is keep this simplified. And the reason I want to keep it simplified is because I believe I want to have it encased kind of in flame. And so it's going to be like a very busy area. These flames stink. It's a very busy area in the first place. So if I complicate it further with a bunch of maybe unnecessary detail on the fingers, I could probably make this finger a little chunk squatter. It could just become very busy, you know. So from a design standpoint, maybe I don't want it to be that. I don't want this hand to be that detailed. The point of interest is the flame that's coming around it. Might need to move this whole layer around. I mean, that looks a little better. So we can put our corrections down here. We'll do the reverse now. Pull the corrections down, go to the tie down layer, and let's just zonk this whole hand. It's just not working. Not working. Okay. Now let's build up from here. Chunky kind of fingers. Maybe got a little bit of bend. I don't know how I feel about this claw, even though he has a rending attack. He does attack you with claws. If you get too close, he will bite your face. It's better. It's not. It's still not amazing. I'm still not in love with what's happening here with the hand. And honestly, this may be something I sit on for a little bit. I may sit on the hand for a little, and by sit on, I mean I'm going to just kind of let this marinate a little more in my head. I'm not going to. I think I would like to go into color this guy up a little more and put some tonal qualities into him. But the hand, I definitely can see that I'm having trouble with. And this is an instance where it's probably best to just leave it alone for a little while. Go work on something else. Close this file. Come back to it in a couple of days. I can already see that maybe there's some issues going on. I can tell I'm going to change my mind on this line in particular because it's not exactly echoing what's happening over here. And this particular, in the armpit is a little gooey. The head is okay. I don't mind some of the play in the head. The legs are okay. This arm in general, this arm in general is okay. But in all, I think it's a good start, and I think it's something I'm going to work on some more. And I thank you very much for joining me. I'd like to try to do this every week at around noon, every Wednesday. Sometimes I do it Wednesday at night at 9:30. It depends on what my schedule is. So please keep an eye out for the final product to post at some point in time. Who knows? Thank you very much for joining me. Have a good week, guys.